All right, so here is our latest project. We got a 1988 Suzuki Samurai body. Great original paint. Had some floor rot, but that did not matter because we are going to mount it on that. Got this for a pretty good deal because it's been left outside most of its life, so you can see a little bit of the fading. But it is a RZR 1000S, so we got the Fox shocks, we got the 1000 motor. You have the narrow cockpit, which is what you need to fit inside the Suzuki. We've already cut out most of the floor and some of the firewall. I'm going to try to leave some of the firewall and fenders. We'll see as we go on how much of that we got to cut off. But you can see here, super low hours, super low miles. We have 52.7 hours and 342 miles, which is super hard to find, especially I think this is a 2016, something like that. The seats are not in the best shape, but you can see all the tires are still in good shape. Never been crashed or rolled. He bought 2 of them. This was his wife's and never really used it, sat outside. So the plan is take all the plastics off, take the cage off. I think I'm going to cut here. So just in case I do want to mount 4-point harnesses, we can mount the 4-point harnesses to this bar, which is still connected to the chassis. And then the plan also is to use the bumpers. It has front and rear bumpers. Probably going to cut here and here. That way we use all the mounts that go to the chassis and then build off that to go to the front body mounts, which I believe is here, here. And then same thing on the other side. And then the back bumper, kind of cut the same way. Go to factory body mounts. And then I was going to leave this piece here, which holds the factory roll bar in the Suzuki, but you can see it attaches right there. So I'm going to cut this off, unbolt this, and then hoping I could build something from that tube to back here on this frame somewhere to tie that cage and this together. That would be another way of mounting the Suzuki body to the RZR, and then on that rail try to maybe take that off, see what it looks like, and see if we can mount it to the inside of the rockers. So this video is not going to be of me cutting. I'll show you what I cut in the end, but I'm not going to show you how I cut it. If you don't know how to cut a floor out of a car, this probably isn't the project for you. But stick around, I'm super excited for this project. This thing rips. It is crazy how similar the chassis are to the 1000 General, and this thing is night and day difference. So just having this inside of the Suzuki Samurai is going to be wild. So stick around. This is the first video of it, and we'll keep going with the build. Let's get the RZR apart and see how it fits. All right, so we're back the next day. We got it on. We'll go over what we did, what we cut. But you can see how it fits there. See the wheel gap we got. These are 27s. We're going to be putting 31.5s. So there should be plenty of space for travel and turning without hitting. We got about 4 to 6 inches from the bottom of the rocker to the bottom of the RZR frame. So I'll be making some custom rockers, and then we'll take these out because they always rust. They hold moisture in the back. So we'll take these off and we'll probably integrate all that with the rocker. You can see in the back, I did have to spread it just a hair because the nubs for the back cage kind of go out at an angle and they were rubbing on the bottom. So I spread it with a 2x4, probably just a ½ inch, and she went just fine. The bed floor height is probably going to be even with the bottom of the fender. So the bed's just going to be one flat surface. We don't have to have any kind of wheel tubs. And then we'll try to make a little step back here. So maybe I could store stuff in this area here. I did have to cut it. If yours is not rusted back here, you could probably leave probably 7 inches from this seam right here this way before you touch the exhaust. But I had some pretty good rust here in this area, and the same thing in this area. So I just cut it out, and we'll make a custom bed floor for it. I would love to get the air box somewhere back here, because we got loads of room here, loads of room here, and then that way you could have just one open area. If not, we'll put the plastic back on and it'll hide all that. But it would be nice just to have, I don't know, I think it'd look more cohesive if the bed floor could just come up to here. So we got to see, this duct super easy to move. This duct doesn't look like it's going to be a pain in the butt, but this duct here on the General, there was more space. I felt like the throttle body was positioned a different way. Or maybe I'm just crazy, but on the General, I don't remember seeing this here. On the General, I could have just came out the side and came out this way, but you could see that duct's kind of flattened to be able to go around the frame. So I don't know if maybe I could get a 45 and there's enough space to come out here and then come out. So we'll work with that. If not, that's the best option we got. We'll leave that. But I definitely am going to move the CVT breathers back. I was even thinking kind of make the gas fill work as one of them. I mean, it'll be a really long tube, but it'll be kind of cool to not waste a port and have the port kind of do something. So we do plan on putting a spare tire back here. You see the whole tailgate works. All the doors are still opening. I was kind of worried about the rigidity of the body, but I think the roll cage and all the roof structure and the rockers and everything kind of hold it together. I mean, this is wiggles a little bit in the back, but it's nothing crazy. But she's looking good. So as far as what we cut on the Polaris body, you have to cut over here, which right now is just a rough cut because it was hitting. When I take the body back off, we'll cut it all the way. But right here, these are the mounts that hold the door latches. You're gonna have to cut those off because I didn't want to cut this because this holds the dash. We're gonna have to trim this up some, but you can see the steering wheel's pretty much flush with the windshield. Once we put that dash on, it should look pretty good. That's the old dash. We're gonna put the dash we got over there. That's the same dash like the General, the 2 clocks, so it should fill the space. We're gonna leave the wiper motor, so we got wipers, so we'll be wiring the wiper motors in and the windshield washer. But you can see it fits pretty good. The fill looks like it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Let's see if it'll even come off. So it will not come off. So we got to see what we're going to do about that. I don't know if maybe I could notch all this out and then kind of weld the pipe sleeve kind of to it. You're just not going to have this piece of door seal here, but I don't think this is going to be very watertight anyways. Screw that back on. As far as the Samurai body, you are going to have to cut the floor. I tried leaving a little lip about a 1/2 inch on each side to be able to attach like a finish panel to. And now that it's on, you can see a gap all the way around. But when you're trying to put this thing on, man, it does not want to go, especially with the seatbelt screw. Thinking about leaving the stock seatbelts just to kind of keep it more car-like. But I also left these roll cage bars in case I do decide to cut the Polaris cage. I'll use that crossbar and mount the harnesses to that. And in the front, we'll go over what we cut there. What you could do a little bit different. The other thing you have to do on the RZR is you're going to have to cut the nubs that hold the cage in the front. I'm planning on capping these off. Once you do this, there really is no one going back. You could weld them back on, but the cage isn't going to be nowhere near strong. But then again, this metal is not very thick, so I don't know how strong these cages are anyways. But you can see what kind of fitment we got here. There's plenty of space from the grill to the radiator. I left a little jack. I was planning on putting it in there. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, how much it weighs. But it'd just kind of be cool to have a little jack on the trail. You can see this fender, I trimmed it with the angle. I left this one a little bit longer. And you probably could have just kept going that angle all the way to the back corner. So that's one thing I would have done differently. This side had the battery box, so the battery box was a little rusted, so I just cut the whole battery box out. But it's the same. If yours is in good shape, from this little rib here, about 4 inches back, you can go from here and kind of go diagonal and kind of leave that in that area. But I'll be finishing all this kind of with maybe some ABS plastic to make it look good. But I do like that. I left some of the fenders. I don't know, just kind of wanted to make it look half-ass original. It gives me somewhere to mount my washer tank. And I can mount accessories and wiring harnesses and all sorts of computer modules and stuff like that up here. But she is looking good. That's going to be it probably till after Christmas. After Christmas, we'll try to get some rockers, make some mounts. We'll cut this bumper up, mount it, and then see about what we got to do to attach it to the front. Same thing with the back. And maybe I'll use parts of the cage with the bends and all that to save some money on tube. So if you like it, subscribe, and we'll keep going with this build. And she's gonna be fun to rip around River Ranch, so stay tuned.